Go.
All right.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Sherry, your host for the GFI podcast, Reach the Unreachable. We are here today with a very, very special guest. Her name is Erin, and I want her to introduce herself. Take it away, Erin.
All righty. Well, thank you so much. I have an amazing host here with Miss Sherry, and I wanted to make sure that I kind of explain to you guys a little bit about what I do and what I specialize in. And so, my focus, I'm a certified wellness coach. Name of my company is called Hungry Fit Foodie. I specialize in wellness coaching, but on top of that, I'm really focused on diet, nutrition, and supplementation. And so, I cover all aspects of a leaky gut. So anything related to gut problems, challenges. There's over 20 different conditions that just stem from that alone. That is my focus and area of expertise.
Awesome, awesome. So, anybody's been researching or thinking about gut health, Erin is your go-to person. I can vouch for her. I can guarantee that she can help you out. So, Erin, you mentioned Hungry Fit Foodie. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes. So it's so funny because it started off as a blog, and I thought, I'm just going to share everything that I know and just put it
Right,
out there in the world. And that's it. I'll be done with it. And then it kind of evolved over time.
right.
And it evolved more into me wanting to do one-on-ones with people because I
Okay.
realized people had so many questions, and sometimes you can't get all your answers through just a single blog post or two or
Right.
three blog posts at that. And so it got to the point where people were like, I need to talk to you.
Right. Yep.
So I was like, okay, let's set something up. So I started doing online.
Right.
Everything, my whole business is online, so I can talk to anybody around the world. But it's really more so about being able to provide people with the guidance, support, information. Because
Right.
when it comes to gut health, when it comes to health in general, and
Right.
what supplements to take and things like that, there's so much misinformation out there. There's so much confusion out there. And so people would always want to know, like, can I eat this? Or is
Yeah.
this bad? Or can I take this supplement with this supplement? And is this okay? And so it just kind of evolved into me actually coaching people
Right. Right.
into, okay, let's focus, let's break this down
Yeah.
in digestible pieces so they can understand what they need to do and why. Because
Right.
I've always been a why kind of person.
Yep.
I've always
Yep.
wanted to
Yep.
know.
Sounds like you planted some seeds there and now they just growing like weeds.
Yeah, exactly. And I need to know why. So I'm always
Yeah.
like, okay, this is what you're gonna do, and this is why.
Yep.
And I think they really do respect that too.
Yep, yep, and I can vouch for that as well because I'm that type of person as well. I'm like, if you want me to do something, I'm like, tell me why I'm doing it. So,
Exactly.
yeah, because I'm like, I'm not for trying to do stuff just to be doing it. I'm like, I need to have a
Thank
purpose in
you.
mind. I need to have a reason. Yeah, I need to have some kind of motivation that's gonna make me do it. So,
Exactly. That's the thing. It's the motivation, because
yep,
when you know it's important and
right,
why it's important, then you're like, okay, I really need to do this.
right,
Versus
yeah,
if somebody says, don't you want to be healthy? It's like, yeah,
right.
doesn't everybody? Like, it
It's
doesn't
a little
mean
bit more than
anything.
that.
Yeah, it doesn't mean much at that point. But one of the things that I have noticed that I would like to talk about, because I was thinking about this when we decided to set this up, because if
Yep.
you guys don't know, I've known Sherry now for over a year, and we've been
Wow, it's
talking about
been a
doing
minute.
this
Yep.
for some time, and
Yes,
it finally happened. So I'm really happy that I'm here today and we're able to do
yes.
this. But one of the things that was really, and I've been noticing it a lot because I've been talking to so many people,
Mhm.
is there's so much misinformation about what's healthy, what's not healthy, what's good, what's not good. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. And I think it'll bless your audience as well, because I know part of your business is really into the fitness and also, feeding the mind, feeding the body kind of a thing.
Mhm.
And so one of the things that I always share with my clients is I work with naturopathic doctors. I'm a certified wellness coach, but I am by no means a healthcare professional. I partner with healthcare
Right.
professionals, so naturopathic doctors, and we talk, and they provide me with information, recommendations, things like that to provide to my clients so they know what to do.
Right.
We also have what they refer to as protocols. So if someone has something that they're dealing with, like gallstones, or they have diabetes or different things like that, chronic diseases, then they actually have programs that we could provide to these individuals to kind of help them get back on track from a naturopathic perspective.
Right.
And so a lot of times when I'm talking to people, they'll ask me like, oh, can I have this? Can I not have this? Or I heard you're not supposed to eat that. I heard coffee's bad. And in 1 minute coffee's good. And, and it's so much confusion out there. So what our naturopathic doctors did was they put together a list, and I can send that to you, Sherry, so you can
Okay.
provide that to your audience as well.
Yeah. Awesome.
But it's called the good food, bad food list.
Okay.
So they make it super simple because my husband, like, he comes out of the fitness world. He used to be a pro bodybuilder. He was in
Right.
Muay
Okay.
Thai and things like that. And so there was all these different things that people were doing to try to track their health. Oh, let me count my calories. Let me look at my macros. Like, how much protein, fat, and carbs am I taking in?
Right.
And how many total carbs am I taking in for the day? And people measure their food, right? You have people
Right.
that do that every single day. And it's just a lot.
Yeah.
And so what our doctors did, what they said, okay, let's make this simple. It's a PDF. It's a one pager. It lists out all the good foods you can have. And then it lists out the 12, what we call the 12 bad foods that you should never, ever eat. So these are not foods you eat in moderation. I just need to make that clear.
Right. Yep. There, I know there's some food out there you should not touch.
You should just not touch them at all. So I'm going to provide that full list for your audience so they can have that. But just to kind of go over the bad, because I know a lot of people are concerned about, well, what's on this bad list that I should never have? So the first 4 on the list are wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Wheat, barley, rye, and oats. So when you look at the first 4 on the list, they're all related to gluten.
Right.
And how destructive gluten can be to the body it's insane. And so a lot of times people think, well, I don't have issues with gluten. I'm not a celiac. I don't have any problems. But a lot of times they don't know that they're having reactions to gluten because they think, oh, I get a little bloated after I eat. That's no big deal. They go like, oh, my skin might have a little itch on it, but I might be allergic to something. It's no big deal.
Right.
And they don't really notice it. Even having weight problems, inflammation, all of that stuff comes from having gluten in your system because it's just destructive because it's just a large protein. That's all it is. Gluten is a large type of protein and our body just has a hard time digesting it. So as a result, it creates backup, inflammation, all kind of different things. And so our doctors, they say, nobody should have anything that contains any of those 4 items in them. And when you look at most food, it typically has one of the 4 in them, especially if it's a processed food, prepackaged foods, anything that you have that has ingredients and stuff on the back, with nutrition facts and the whole list of all these ingredients. You look at that carefully, you'll tend to see one of the main ingredients, they'll say wheat. Normally, you'll see barley, all these kind of different things. And so my crusade is I would love to get people more educated on gluten, how bad it is, and for them to be more alert to if they are having reactions, not necessarily saying that they're celiac, but if they're just having reactions, we have to take a look and see if that could be the gluten, it could be something else, but it could also be actually the gluten too that's in their diet.
Okay. So how do whole grains fall into that? Do they automatically have gluten, or is there like gluten-free whole grains? Does that exist?
Oh yeah.
Is that a thing?
This is a good one. This is part of the confusion that I love. This is perfect. So whole grains typically are talking about wheat products. And so that you definitely want to stay away from. A lot of times you'll hear, especially if you grew up like I did, where they had the food pyramid, remember that? And it was always, you had the breads, the everything, wheat and all that stuff was in the food pyramid, meaning that it was something that we should have, but it was just a matter of how much and things like that. But in reality, when you look at whole grains, because of the wheat, because of the barley, because of the rye, because of the oats, it is destructive to your body because of the gluten aspect to them.
Okay.
Now, what I do, because let's face it, we live in a world where we like to eat. That's why my company is called Hungry Fit Foodie. I
Right.
like to eat. I'm not one of those people that like will eat salads and be like,
Right. Yep.
I'm so full.
I'm with you on that.
I'm so full. I ate a cracker. Oh no, I like to eat. I like to eat good food. I
Right.
like to eat tasty food. And so one of the things that I do is I will buy gluten-free. So if you are craving the breads, go gluten-free.
Yep.
Another thing is if you can't get the gluten-free bread or it's too expensive in a lot of cases, let's
Right.
face it, the food prices right now are
Yes.
crazy.
Yes.
Crazy. So another option is you can go with sourdough. A good
Yeah.
quality sourdough
Yeah.
is also good for your gut. It actually,
Right.
because of the sour aspect to it, the way it's fermented, I've made sourdough before,
Yeah.
and it is a process. If you
Yeah.
have never made sourdough before, bread, it is a process. A fermentation process is 7 days before
Wow.
you can actually bake that loaf. So,
Wow.
and it's
So
all
don't be in a
natural.
hurry.
Yeah, you cannot be like, I want a sandwich today. Like
Right. You
you're
should have
trying to
started
feed
last week.
your kids will move out. They will call, the authorities to come get them. They're like, she
That's
is not
funny.
feeding us.
And look, we're still waiting on the bread.
Still waiting on the bread 7 days later. Oh,
Hilarious.
but it is it's a better quality
Right.
because of the fermentation process.
Yep.
And most sour foods, so think in terms of like pickling foods,
Mhm.
even like Greek yogurt, the ones that aren't commercial that have all the
Yep.
sugar in it, but real
Right.
Greek
Yep.
yogurt, which is a little bit more bitter and is not that sweet.
Right.
All of these things are actually really good for your gut. So a lot of times people think like, oh, I shouldn't have it because it's kind of bitter or it's a little bit acidic because it has
Right.
that vinegar in it, but
Yep.
it's actually very healthy and very good for your gut. And sourdough is one of them. It's one of my favorite kind of breads.
Yeah.
And I'll eat that if I just can't get what I really want.
Right.
And it's pretty inexpensive too. I went to, what was it? I think it was Vaughn's like a week ago.
Yeah.
And I got a small little loaf and it was like under $3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not bad at all.
That's cheaper than the bread I buy.
Now you're gonna
You
go
get
back
the
and you're gonna
carbs
start thinking
smart.
about it.
Right.
You're gonna start looking for it now. You're like, where is that
Yep.
sourdough bread?
Which I was eating sourdough bread a while back, and then
Yeah.
I think I just forgot about it. So thanks for the reminder.
Yeah. And you'll be surprised at how much you like it when you try it again. You'll be like, actually, I really do like this bread.
Yep.
It actually is pretty good. But yes, I go gluten-free for everything, including with condiments. So when
Right.
you think in terms of like soy sauce,
Mhm.
even oyster sauce, I get all that stuff gluten-free. So a lot of times people are like, but I like this and I don't want to give it away. I don't want to
Right.
get rid of it.
Yeah.
I love this so much. And I'm like, there are really good gluten-free options
Right.
available
Yep.
now. You
Yep.
just gotta look.
Right. Yep. I've seen that too,
Yeah.
and it's funny you said that someone not want to let something go. So I have a raspberry vinaigrette that I was using on
Yeah.
my salads, and I had someone telling me, I don't want to try that because I want to keep eating this. I'm like, this is so much better.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You just gotta be open-minded. You
right,
know what I
exactly. I'm
mean?
like, you got to look at the end goal here. I'm like, what are you
Yeah,
trying to accomplish? Okay, you got to get
exactly.
that motivation and then a purpose in there to so that you make the change. Because if you're satisfied where you're at, you're not going to change. If you are not motivated to see your future better, you're not going to change. So you got to have it. You got to have that
Not
motivation.
at all. Not at all. So that's for the bad list. That's the first 4 that are on the list.
Yeah.
And so those are, I think they did it that way because I think subconsciously when they put the list together, I think they kind of put it together like almost as if like it's almost a list of importance in a way, but it's
Yep.
not.
Yeah.
It really isn't. But when you look at how it was structured, I was like, you guys are like right on. Like these are
Right.
the first four are the most destructive on the list.
Right.
But some of the other things on there, one of the things that it disturbs a lot of people when you have to tell them this
Right.
is fried foods, because who doesn't love good fried food, right?
What about air
But
fried?
I love air fried. I love it. If you want a good machine that does really good air frying, I have a Ninja Foodie that I love. It's
Okay.
a great product. I by no means represent them. I don't get anything
Right.
from it. I'm just giving you guys extra value.
Yep.
But I love that thing. It can do so much and everything comes out good. Like my
Right.
husband even made a comment. He was like, "Oh, this makes you a better chef." I was like, "What?"
I did learn how to fry some chicken legs in an air
See,
fryer.
it's
Yes.
oh,
Ooh.
Sherry, I'm gonna have to show. I'm gonna show you my recipe for chicken wings, chicken legs, because you're gonna be like, "Oh my God, this is so good." It's so much better than just your
Yeah.
traditional fried food or anything like that.
Yep.
But I'll give you my recipe so you can try it.
All right.
But so the reason why we don't fry, right? And people
Yeah.
go like, "Well, is it really that big of a deal? Because you're air frying it, isn't that kind of similar?" No. So the reason why it's different is because when you're frying your foods, you have to use oil,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
You don't fry with just like, nothing in there, water. You can't do that. You got to use oil. So
Right.
when you're using oil, the problem with that is that any kind of oil you use, I don't care if it's extra virgin olive oil, I don't care if it's sunflower oil,
Right.
safflower oil, if any of that kind of stuff, grapeseed. I don't care what you're frying your food
Right.
in. Once you heat that oil up,
Mhm.
that oil quickly turns into tons of free radicals,
Mhm.
which ends up turning into carcinogenic. So
Right.
you're literally taking your good quality food,
Mhm.
putting it in a batch of poisonous oil,
Right.
literally, and then you're eating it.
Right.
And that's why it's bad. It's not the fact that the food is fried. The fact is that you're frying it in oil that's
Right.
heated
Right.
above what it can handle. So all those free radicals just get released.
Right.
And now you have a batch of poisonous fried chicken, fried French fries, all that kind of stuff.
Right. And I can imagine
So,
that oil kind of gets soaked in the food too as you're cooking it. So it's like there's no,
oh,
oh,
yes.
I just want to dip it in here. No.
No, no. Because as soon as it heats up to where it's hot enough for you to put the food in
Right.
there,
Yep.
it's already bad.
Already too late. Yep.
It's already, and trust me, when you start actually cooking without oil,
Mhm.
one, it's good on the budget.
Yep.
You don't have to buy oil anymore.
Right.
And then two, you don't really miss it because when you cook in oil, it changes the taste a little bit
Mhm.
and it leaves a little bit of an aftertaste.
Yeah.
You'll start noticing it once you completely stop for the people
Right.
that do fry. And it leaves a little bit of an aftertaste and it doesn't really give it a better flavor. It just leaves its own flavor on
Right.
it. And you
Yeah.
start to notice like it doesn't really taste that great. So one of the things that people are like, well, then what can I fry my foods in, right? Like I need to fry my food in something. Ideally, you don't fry.
Right.
That would be the recommendations directly from my naturopathic doctors that I work with.
Right.
But they said if you do want to fry, no harm, no foul. He said one of the doctors, he was like, go back to old school, use butter.
Yeah.
If you're, have dairy situation, you can always go with the good vegan butter, earth
Right.
balance. I like me some earth balance. You could go there, or you can go with regular butter, grass fed butter.
Yeah.
But it's not something you're going to be doing all the time.
Right. Yep.
So if you're looking at it going like, I don't want to fry butter because I don't want to get the cholesterol and stuff, well, you're not going to be doing it every day.
Right.
Sorry, you're just not. So
Right.
you're only going to be doing this maybe once or twice a week, that kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
you're fine. And the butter, let me just tell you, is going to give the food so much better flavor. It's going to taste so much better. And it has a better, butter is better than oil because of the consistency. You can heat it, and because it's more natural, it
Right.
doesn't release all those free radicals like oil does. So that's the reason why they go with the butter
Yep.
versus the oil.
Yeah. And I
But
usually do the unsalted butter.
so here's the thing. So I don't know what it is. My husband has a sweet tooth, right?
Yeah.
I have a salty tooth.
Okay.
I love anything salty.
Yeah.
In my prior life, before I became a wellness coach, I was a French fry-aholic.
Right.
I love French fries. I love that saltiness of the French fry. It was just something about it.
Yeah.
And I could snack on that. That could be a meal for me. Literally. It was like, that
Yep.
was like all I needed was a nice little amount of salty, fatty.
Just sounds so good.
This is so bad and it's so good at the same time, right?
Right.
But it's so, but it was, that was the one thing that I was like, how am I going to do this? I looked at that page that the doctor gave me because I started working with doctors because of my own health.
Yeah.
And so when he showed it to me, I was like, okay, this is what I want you to follow. This is what I want you to do. I was like, how am I going to, I can't have French fries anymore.
So here's what I do with French fries.
Yeah.
I cut up some fresh potatoes
Yeah.
and I can air fry them.
Yes.
And so, or I can bake them in the oven to a crisp. So, like, there's ways around it.
Yes. So that's what I started doing. That's why I got the air fryer, was because I
Yeah.
needed my French fries and
Right.
I needed my fried chicken. I was like, those are the two things that I can't
Exactly.
say no to. I'm so sorry. So I got the air fryer for that reason. So I do the same thing. I just cut up my potatoes. I make sure I take all the skin off. Oh,
Mhm.
Sherry, you are perfect, because this brings me to another point. Another item on the list is, when you're having potatoes,
Mhm.
do not keep the skins on the potatoes if you're going to make the potatoes crispy. So whether you put the potatoes in the oven or you fry them in the air fryer, either way, if the potato skins are going to be crispy,
Mhm.
take off, do not eat the potato skins. Why? Because for some reason, the chemical structure of those potato skins, just the skin, once
Right.
it turns crispy, it actually turns carcinogenic.
Oh, okay.
It's just the chemical makeup of those potato skins. So that's actually one of the items on the list. I'm glad you brought it up, because that is something that a lot of people, they would never know that. And
Right.
so our doctors tell everybody, if you're gonna make like a baked potato, that's fine. Don't eat the
Right.
skin. Just
Right.
don't eat the skin.
So
If
even
you
if you
want,
bake it,
even if you bake it, this is really good. Even if you baked it, because it's crispy, once it gets that crispiness to it, then that's when it's already gone carcinogenic.
gotcha.
So they said, if you want to boil it and eat the boiled potatoes with the skin on it,
Mhm.
because it's going to be moist and wet from the water,
Right.
that's fine.
Okay.
You can do that.
Good.
But if it's crispy at any point, whether it's from
Right.
the oven, if it's from the air fryer, if you broil it and you got that nice crispiness to it,
Right.
don't eat the skin. You can eat the potato, just don't eat the skin part of it. So a lot of times people will make like potato wedges and they leave the
Right.
skin on.
Right.
Don't do that. So when I make my French fries, I take all the skin off of
Yep.
it. I
Yep.
know it's going to come out crispy. So
Right.
I take all the skin off of it, and then I'll get some of the butter,
Right.
and I'll get the butter, rub it in there, and then I
Right.
just pop it in the air fryer. And that has been my saving grace.
She's like, yes, I found a way to keep my French fries.
I was like, I found a way. And even like the receptionist for the naturopathic doctor that I go to,
Right.
we were talking about it one day, and she was like, yeah, that's totally fine. She was like, she'll even use ghee, which is more of like an animal fat. She's
Right.
like, you can use ghee, but you can use butter. She's like, yeah, that's totally fine. So I was like, perfect. At least I know I'm doing it right.
That's right.
And it tastes so good too. Like you don't lose anything from doing it that way. So.
Right. So is there any concern about saturated fat with using the butter?
It depends on the person and the situation.
Gotcha.
So not everybody can do everything. So
Right.
that's always important. So that's one of the reasons why with my clients, once I understand their
Yep.
situation, I go back to our doctors and I'll ask them specific questions about them and their
Yep.
situation, because there's always going to be something special for somebody.
Right. Yep.
And there is no generalities where it's like everything is okay for everybody. So
Right.
that would definitely be something I would go back and say, okay, what is your concern with this and why? And then I would go to the doctors and say, okay, here's the situation. This is what Sherry's going through. This is what,
Right.
this is, based on her individual profile,
Right.
what would you guys recommend that she do?
Awesome. Awesome. See,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I wanted to pull out of you when I said that, because I knew what you were going to say. So, yeah, one size does not fit all, people.
Mhm.
I've told you that more and more times, even with exercise. One size does not fit all.
So like weight loss too,
Yep,
because a lot of times people are like, well, my friend lost and they did keto
exactly.
and
Yep,
they lost 45 pounds on keto. And I've been doing it for 3 years and I can't get it, like, and
right.
it's like,
Yep,
well, I don't know what your friend's doing. I don't know their health situation. I don't know
right.
anything
Yep.
about them.
Everybody's different. Yep,
Let's talk about you, and
yep,
focus on you and what you need to do.
yep.
Um,
Too many
one of
people do
my,
what other people are doing, thinking they can do it. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way.
no,
You are
no.
individual.
Exactly. I know my cousin, he is 2 year younger than me. He's
Mhm.
getting married this year. We're really excited. And so he
Nice.
was like, yeah, it's really, it's kind of nice when you see people make that big step in their
Right.
life.
Yep.
And so he, and of course his
Congratulations.
fiance now they're married, but they went ahead and got married before the ceremony.
Right. Yep.
But when they were still engaged,
Right.
they were like, they wanted to start, getting ready for the wedding, got to make some
Yep.
changes, want to look
Yep.
good, want to feel good. And so my cousin, he had the right attitude, because I asked him, I was like, what are you trying to do?
Right.
Because at that point we had like 3 months before the
Yep.
ceremony.
Hmm.
And I was like, so what are you trying to do? Like, what are you trying to accomplish?
Right.
And
Yep.
he was like, I really want to lose about 30 pounds. And I was like, okay. And I just kind of let him talk. And he was like, I'm not trying to lose it all before the wedding. He's like, I want to lose it. It could be before the wedding, it could be
Right.
after the wedding. I
Right.
just want to lose the 30 pounds. So
Right.
I was like, thank you, because
That was
I
good.
can't guarantee that in
Right.
the time frame we had,
Right.
because I
Yep.
don't know how committed he is.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
I don't know. And so I was like, okay, thank you, because we can get started and we can move fast, but this is going to require you to, with the short time frame, you're going to have
Right.
to be very strict on
Right.
yourself. And
Yep.
I don't know how strict you're comfortable with being,
Right.
so he got it. So I was like, okay, good, let's go, let's do it. So we're working together now. He's going to start the program on today's Friday. He starts today.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
we'll see how he
Good for
does.
him. Good
Yeah.
job. Good job. Okay, so we're running out of time according to Zoom.
Oh my gosh.
But
This went by
um
fast.
this has been such an awesome conversation. We may continue this one day, y'all. You never
Yes.
know. So hopefully somebody got something out of it. Before we close though, tell us how people can contact you, Erin.
Absolutely. So I do have my website, Hungry Fit Foodie. That's just hungryfitfoodie.com, all lowercase. I'm also pretty much on all social media. So I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn,
Nice.
TikTok, Medium. I post
On
blogs on
TikTok, y'all. I'm gonna have to check
Medium.
out TikTok.
TikTok. So that's where I do all my cooking demonstrations. So you
Okay.
might like that.
Yeah, I'm about to check that out. Check Erin out on TikTok.
Yes,
I'm gonna put her links to her different social medias and website and all that when I upload this video to YouTube. So be sure to check that out as well. Any advice you have right now for our listeners, other than they got
yeah,
to make sure that they get your book when it comes out. They got to make sure
yes.
they
I well,
check
I
out your
have.
TikToks.
So she's talking about, I have a cookbook that's coming out. It's not done yet, but I'll definitely let everybody know when it is ready to go. But I would say, from a health perspective, one of the things that I didn't know is that, every time you look at supplements, it always says
Right,
consult a physician before starting any kind of a health
right.
program.
Yeah,
I didn't realize how important that was.
yeah, that is important.
It is way, like, it is not just pick up some vitamins from the grocery
Right,
store and start taking them.
right,
That won't work. And that's why most people stop taking them after a while,
yeah,
because they don't notice anything different. They don't
right.
feel
Yep.
different. Like, there's just nothing.
Yeah, and we're individuals.
Yes. and you have to know what to put together.
Yep.
It's way more comprehensive
Yep.
than you think. So I would suggest people, especially if you're dealing with a chronic disease,
Mhm.
whether it's diabetes, skin problems like eczema, seborrheic dermatitis, or
Right.
atopic dermatitis, any kind of like leaky gut situations,
Right.
or out if you have allergies. People don't know that sometimes that's actually related to your gut health.
Right. Yep.
So there's just so much that a naturopathic doctor could help you with. Somebody like myself, I can connect you with the right people, but you definitely need to talk to a professional so
Yep.
you can know exactly what you should be doing for
Yep.
your situation and whatever your goals are.
Right.
It
Yep.
has to work together.
Yep. Remember, people, you are individual. You need to do things for you. You can't compare yourself to other people in anything that you're doing for real, not even just diet, exercise,
Yeah,
anything that you're doing. You can't compare yourself to other people because you're going to end
absolutely.
up either disappointed, you're going to end up trying to do something you shouldn't be doing.
Oh yeah,
It's not going to turn out well. So you got to remember that we are all individuals and we all have our own purpose, we all have our own path, and we
yep,
all have to follow our own path. We can't be like we can't be like Mike.
exactly. And it just leads to depression at the end of the
Yeah.
day,
Yep.
because you're
Sure.
never going to be able to be somebody that you don't even know their situation. You
Right.
know, you really don't know their whole situation.
Right.
So it's just not even worth it.
Even if you have a very best friend it's like, oh, we do everything together, at some point you ain't gonna be able to do that.
Mm-mm.
And you're just gonna have to accept it and realize
Yep,
and still be friends. I'm like,
exactly.
that's all I can say.
Oh, wow.
Oh, well, Erin, this has been great.
Yes,
I'm,
I need to get an invite back. I hope you
Yes,
guys do
definitely.
invite me.
I will definitely invite you back, and I'm pretty sure my listeners are going to be like, "Oh, when you gonna get Aaron back?" So make sure you guys comment. Let us know when you want us
Yes,
to do this again, because we will do it again. We will make it happen. So
absolutely. And we want to know what you guys want.
yeah,
So if there's
exactly.
whatever you
Yep,
want us to talk about, let us know and we'll definitely address it.
yep,
So at least that way, we want you to get the most out of this. We don't want to
yep,
waste anybody's time.
yep.
So let
Send
us
us
know.
your questions. Send questions. Drop them down in the comments. Whatever you can reach out to either one of us. We got websites. All the information will be
Yeah.
included. So um hey, enough said. Thanks again, Aaron. I appreciate you. I appreciate our listeners, and to God be the glory.
To God be the glory, everybody. Take
Bye.
care.